Hello everyone. Today we are going to start another chapter from First Flight, and the chapter's name is A Letter to God. That's the first chapter from your First Flight book. This chapter is written by G.L. Fuentes. Okay, he is a Mexican writer, and in his stories you find places where you can get a glimpse of Mexico. Okay, the topics that I'm going to cover are going to be the summary, the theme, message, character sketch, and some of the important phrases that you need to learn, you need to use in your answers. Okay, so when you use those phrases in your answers, your quality of answer will enhance. Okay, so I want you all to please pay good attention when we are doing this. Okay, so let's start. A letter to God, as the title says. Yes, it's a letter which is being written by the character, the protagonist, and his name is Lencho. So in this story you find two main characters in the story. The first one being Lencho, he is the protagonist of the story. And yes, there is a very important supporting character who is the postmaster. Okay, the postmaster, the head of the post office, postmaster, not the postman, the postmaster. Okay, so when we start, we generally don't write letters to someone whom we have never seen, right? During our childhood, we used to write letters to Santa Claus or God to complain about something or to ask about something, right, as gifts. But here we are referring to a man who already has 5 sons, right, and is big enough, is elder enough, but we are referring to the unshakable faith, the unquestionable faith that he has towards God, and which is why this letter is written and is addressed to God. But why does he write that letter? That is quite intriguing, and that's what the story is about. So Lencho, the farmer, used to live at the crest of a low hill. Crest of the low hill means that there were other hills which were higher than that, and the one which was lower used to stay at the top of that hill. That was the only house in the whole valley. Okay, and as he is a farmer, he had a farm and he had grown corn. Okay, and he was just expecting a good shower so that his crops will be harvested at for a better quality, of a better quality. So he was just expecting a little shower, and he was looking at the northeast side to see the clouds, how when the clouds are going to come and when is it going to rain. Finally, during the night when he sat down to eat, he could hear the pitter-patter of rain. He was filled with joy that this was the moment that he was waiting for. And he went out in order to see the rain and experience the rain, because that was the sign for him that his crop of corn is going to be of the best quality. Okay, and he has compared the raindrops with the coins, new coins. Okay, so he says the bigger drops are like 10-cent coins, and the smaller ones are equivalent to 5 cents. And his kids were also enjoying the rain, because that was the moment that they all were waiting for. But gradually the rain started changing into hailstones. Hailstones are definitely not good for the crop. It leads to the crop getting destroyed. And Lencho did not expect this. He just wanted this hailstones to stop, the hailstorm to stop. And he said, these hailstones look like white pearls, but these pearls are not good for my crops. He was very sad. He just expected these hailstones to stop, the hailstorm to stop. And finally, when it stopped, his whole field was filled with white pearls, hailstones. The crop of corn was destroyed. And that's when he said, a plague of locust would have left something, whereas this hailstorm has left nothing. Not even a flower is left. So a plague of locust means a locust is an insect that destroys the crops. So a plague of locusts means if the crops would have been destroyed, if there would have been a swarm of locusts which would have attacked the farm or the crops, they would have left some flowers or some crops maybe. But hailstones or this hailstorm has left nothing for him. He was very dejected. He did not know what to do. That night was a sorrowful night for him. He was disheartened. The next day, his wife said that God sees everything. God knows everything. He would never let us die of hunger. And Lencho believed in God. It was an unquestionable faith that he had in God. He said, yes, you are right. God will never let us down. And he was an ox of a person. Ox of a person means he used to work in the fields like an ox, tirelessly. He would do the most difficult task in the farm, but still he would do it because he had grown up with that. Okay, so he said, yes, you're right. And he could not think of anything, but he thought, I will write a letter. And he started writing a letter to God, that I know you know everything, you have seen everything, and I do not doubt that. I just want you to send 100 pesos to me. Now 100 pesos is a currency of Mexico. Okay, so he said, I want you to send 100 pesos to me because it is needed for me to start farming again, to mend my farm and start farming again. And also it will help me survive, me and my family to survive for a year till the time the next crop is harvested. So I am in need of 100 pesos and I want you to please send me 100 pesos. And he addressed the envelope, he kept the letter in the envelope and addressed it as God. And he put it in the post box. The postman came and emptied the post box and took the letters to the post office. Now when he reached post office and they start sorting the letters, that's when he realized that there was this one odd letter which did not have any address. It was just written to God. He started laughing and he started showing it to others. See, this is, this fellow has written, this person has written to God. Who is going to give it to God? There's no address, there's nothing. Who has seen God or where does God live? But this person has written to God. All the employees of the post office were having a hearty laugh when the postmaster entered. He was a fat, amiable person, but and he just inquired what is happening, and the postman brought back that letter. That look at this letter. This is addressed to God. And the postmaster also started laughing. But in the next moment, he became very serious. And his seriousness was that, look at the faith the person has. I wish I would have had that kind of faith in God. So, not to dishearten this person, he opened the envelope, and he found this letter which requested God to send 100 pesos. Postmaster was moved to to understand or to see the condition of Lencho, and he really wanted to help. So he started collecting money from his employees, from his friends, from his family, acquaintances, as an act of charity. And he gave a part of his salary also. But even after doing all of it, they could only manage to collect only 70 pesos. It was still less. But then he thought something is better than nothing. At least 70 pesos will reach this person and he would be able to do something out of it. He would not, postmaster may not be able to help him completely, but at least something, some part some of it can be helped, can be done. So he collected 70 pesos, he kept it in the envelope and addressed it, signed it as God. Okay. Sunday morning, Lencho came to check whether there was a reply for his letter or not. And the postmaster was sitting at one desk in the corner and he was just looking at Lencho and his reactions. He wanted to see how pleased or how grateful he would be. When postman handed over the letter to Lencho, he was not even a bit surprised. He just smiled, took the letter, and sat on one of the bench. He opened the letter and started counting the money. When he counted the money, he grew really angry. Okay, he was frustrated. He started thumping his hand, his palm on the table. And the postmaster did not know why this reaction is. He should be happy that he has got at least 70 pesos. Not the complete amount that he asked for, but he's got some amount. Lencho went to the postman and said, asked for another letter, another paper and a pen. Okay, so postman gave it to him and he sat in the other room and started writing. He wrote the letter, put it in the new envelope, put a stamp and again put it in the postbox and went with 70 pesos. Postmaster was really curious because he knew, at first he realized that it is not just with a pen and a paper or a reply from God that would really help Lencho, but money is what is going to help Lencho. But then on seeing Lencho's reaction, he could not understand that why this reaction, for what reason. And then he went and he took out that letter which Lencho wrote again and he started reading it. And in that letter, Lencho just wrote that I understand that you would have sent 100 pesos to me and I really need it. I have only received 70 pesos. So what I want you to do is, if you can send me the remaining 30 pesos as I really need it through some other way than sending it through post. Because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. They would have stolen 30 pesos from the 100 pesos that you had sent. Postmaster was taken aback because he never expected that. He expected him to be grateful for the fact that he has received some amount, but he could never understand, he could never believe what he saw because Lencho, out of his innocence, he called the post office employees as a bunch of crooks who would steal the money. This was something that was not expected. And that shows the faith when Lencho had on God, that God would not make any mistake to send the money. Humans can. If there is a process which has to be followed to send money, within that process there may be bureaucracy. But God will not send him less money. So that is the kind of faith he had in God. So coming to this, yes, this is the summary of the chapter, A Letter to God. Now, coming to the theme that is reflected through this chapter. Theme is the faith, unquestionable faith or in God. Okay, unquestionable faith one has in God. So the message that is conveyed through this chapter. Now, there are three main messages that are conveyed through this chapter. The first one refers to the extreme faith in God, which can bring a ray of hope even in the grimmest times. Okay, so that ray of hope, that is because of the faith one has. Okay, that can help a person survive. Okay, that's the first message. The second is the innocence that is reflected through Lencho's behavior, the innocence of a farmer. That though being disheartened because of the rain, because of the hailstones, still, he has that innocence to ask God for money, and he believes in that. The third one is that at times, even your acts of generosity will not be recognized by people. But we should never stop ourselves to conduct these acts time and again. Acknowledgement may or may not be there, but that should not be hindering our purpose in life, which is to be generous, to be kind to people, to help them in their times of need. Okay, so these are the three messages that are conveyed through this chapter. Now, referring to the character sketch of Lencho. Okay, when we talk about Lencho, I'm going to cover the character traits so that it is easier, and these are the keywords to learn. Okay, so when we refer to Lencho is an innocent farmer. Okay, number one. Then he has unshakable faith in God. He believes in God. Okay. Then he's an ox of a farmer. He's an ox of a farmer means he works endlessly on his farms. Okay. He does not believe in the post office employees. He does not have any belief in that because he called them a bunch of crooks. All right. Then, being a farmer, he knows how to write the minimum literacy which is needed in a person. He has that so that he can write a letter. Okay. His only hope is God. He only hopes that God will look at him, God will see his condition, and God is going to help him out. Okay. So these are the character sketch of Lencho. Now, referring and being the protagonist of the story also. Yes, as I mentioned earlier also, that he is the protagonist of the story. So the action revolves around him. Okay. Now, the second character, the second supporting character that we have is the postmaster. So he is a fat and amiable person. He wishes that he should have that much faith that Lencho had in God. Tries to help Lencho by collecting money from his colleagues as an act of charity. Okay, he in order to not break Lencho's faith in God, he signs the letter, the envelope as God. Okay, he is confused by the reaction of Lencho on receiving 70 pesos, but realizes that Lencho has extreme faith in God, but not in kindness. Okay, so these are the character sketch of the postmaster. Okay, now there are certain phrases that we need to learn and remember in order to present our answer. Okay, so when we refer to those phrases, I want you all to please make sure that while reading your chapter, you are marking them as well. And when you are writing it in your answer, when you're using those phrases in your answer, you please underline that. Okay, so for that matter, a plague of locust, okay, a plague of locust, then raindrops as new coins, okay, hailstones as white pearls. How it is being compared, that you need to write, you need to mention. Okay, then collection of money as an act of charity by the postmaster. Lencho being an ox of a farmer, ox of a man. So he is a workaholic. He loves to work in the fields without any interruptions. Okay. Calling post office employees as a bunch of crooks. Okay. Stamping the letter, stamping the envelope to God. Okay. The amount that was collected and that was being asked. So amount which was being asked was 100 pesos, and how much was collected? It was 70 pesos. Okay. So these are a couple of things, and definitely please don't forget that he was a farmer who used to grow the crop of corn. Okay, so he used to grow corn crop in his field, in his farm. So these are a couple of things that you should remember when you are writing that answer. You please underline these phrases also when you are writing that answer, when you're using it in your answer, because this helps in enhancing your presentation of the answer. Okay, so I hope this video has helped you out. In case you have anything to share, anything to comment, do write it in the comment box. Okay, take care everyone, have a lovely day, bye bye.